So this video is a continuation from last videos where I started the soldering process, and we got to this point where everything is connected and soldered together. It is, however, not the cleanest looking right now. So that was a rough first pass. And so today I want to do right now I want to do a nice bead work. And what that means is smoothing out the solder lines, so the beads of the solder will look smooth throughout, as if it flows all together in one continuous flow, lack of a better word. So that is what we want to do today, front and back and around the edges. So I want to show you guys that, how I go about doing it to clean it up and get it to look as good as possible for the final product. So this is almost done, but this is where we're at right now. So it's really cool that we got to this point. There is a front and a back. We are going to be soldering both of it to make sure that it can go either side, and if you look at it, it's going to be very nice on both. All right, so again, let's go with it. Got the soldering iron and my flux is here ready to go. I think at this point you might not even need the flux, but maybe we could start off a little bit just to get things going again. Feel like it wouldn't hurt. But if I took a pause earlier from when I finished up to this point, and so some of it has dried up, and what I want to do is just kind of get it going again. But I'm going to smooth out the beads, and I'm just going to melt the solder all around and see how it goes. If it feels like, see, this one here is falling already, possibly flowing to the other side. So if that happens, you're going to have to add more solder into this. And when you get to, you want to do like a small section at first, like this, right here. That is going through. Let's move on to the next spot, only because if I keep working on that, it's already hot, it's melting, it's going to go right through again and again. It just keeps, we're going to lose solder onto the other side. So it's not worth messing around with it right now. At the same time, you want to keep moving. Melting it is just holding on, melting the tip and moving. Once it starts becoming a liquid phase here, you just want to move on to the next line and continue that. And you'll see little splats, of solder kind of starts to form. Sometimes that happens, splats up, and you just want to just keep moving. You can correct it later on. And you can only probably go back and forth on each line, let's say like this section, only a few times before it gets really hot and you want to just move to the next step, next place. So I'm trying to drag it on as long of a continuous draw as I can. So if I'm going from this tip here, just want to melt everything there and start pulling. And you can go slow, but not too slow. But once it starts flowing, then just keep it going, and it could go to whatever line you want, anything. Let's see, sometimes you're going to have to stop. The centerpiece right here, there's a lot of solder missing, so I just added a few drops on there, kind of get that filled in. And you'll feel this resistance of the cold solder versus the hot, and the hot is trailing right now. Hopefully I'm not blocking the camera, but you can see that it's smoother behind on the trailing side, and then as it's melting that harder or colder spot right here where the center meets, let's add some more in here. in the center. Eventually we're going to do like a little dot right in the middle there. So that's okay. Can do that later on. I'm filling in solder at these center, all the points where they kind of meet. I know that that's lacking, so I just added some solder in there. And when you pull it, we're gonna still do a lot more touch-ups along everything here. So this will be our second pass, and let's just say the second pass, second time around, you are moving slower. Right, the first time we went through this and we were moving really fast, not really caring how it looks, actually not even caring how much solder is on the foil. And this second time around, now I want to pay more attention to, thinking about how much solder do you want to keep adding to this line, this bead that you're working on. If you see it is kind of flat, you want to go ahead and just add a little bit onto that tip like we do. Let it flow down, all right? And then just let it kind of flow in, and it'll build up on that bead. And it, again, doesn't have to be perfect right now. We're not trying to make it the best, but as close as possible. Because we will come back another time, like our third round. This is how I've been doing it. It works for me. I'm not sure if other people do it this way at all. If it's second time around, second pass, and then they got it all done. I'm not sure, but this is how I do it. And so these ones right here are now looking a lot better. There's less breaks in between each of these sections, and it's not quite there yet. I'm wishing it could work right now on this pass, and some of the lines might. Sometimes it might be enough to where everything just melts perfectly. You've got the correct amount of solder on that line, and then you're done with it. So you don't have to mess with it anymore. Like maybe that one is okay. And if it is, then we're done with it. But if not, we're going to have to go or come back and smooth this out once more. So right now I'm more concerned about how much solder does it have? Does it have too much? Does it not have enough? And if it doesn't have enough, we're easily adding in just little by little and dragging back and forth so it balances that out itself out right here. And you just pull the iron away off of the line, whichever side you want, and it will right onto the glass, and it will just break it. You pull it from the line onto the glass, and it will just stop the flow. So that is maybe a little tip right there for the soldering. Okay, so like this line, there's a huge lump of solder right there. I'm going to try to bring that part back down here, and then there's a little bubble that happened. Just going to let it sit, see how it cools, move on to the next line. At this point, just keep moving. Don't go back to it. Don't try to fix that line just yet. Normally, what I found is that if you do that, and just sit here and try to fix it right now, we end up having to go back anyways to make it better again. And then I end up just sitting on that line the whole time, and it's now starting to heat up too much and maybe risking the foil coming off, risking the glass cracking. If that happens, oh man, you're gonna have to do way more work. So patience is key right here. Center is super empty right there. We're gonna add some more solder in there, kind of fill it in, let it melt a little bit right all around so it's kind of makes contact, connects together. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's just leave that, move on to this one. Sometimes you forget which one you've been working on, like, oh crap, I thought somebody was outside. Yeah, like you forget which line you're working on. Just make sure you make note of it, and you know, try not to go over the same lines if it's still warm. You're just going to keep going. So I guess I don't need the flux. It looks like it's melting fine. There's no need for flux here at this point. It's also not fuming as much, if you can tell. Also because the flux is not really there. You know, it is, but it's not the initial first time when we apply it. So there's no burning of that, and it's much better. Right now I don't need the vent. It's not really bothering me right now. So you get to this point, you don't have to worry about it smelling too much. And we're just dragging, right? Dragging. See, some of these are pretty good. I feel like I don't want to mess with it. And if that happens, let's not do it. You don't have to at all. You know, if it looks good, leave it alone. If the line looks good. But most of the time, I think you would probably want to. You probably want to do a pass. It goes from one line to the other, it blends in, and then you'll just see how it melts too. It's very interesting. Very neat to see the solder take shape. You know, some parts are flat, you're gonna have to fill it in. Also, the other technique is lifting off of the iron here. Let me see if I can demonstrate. So you're having the iron sitting, touching the solder bead right here. Maybe I'm adding some more solder on here. All right, tip is pretty much touching the glass. And then when I go up to the end and I feel like it's melted and it's done, and I'm done right here where it's melting, I just straight up lift off, let it cool. And that liquid, the melting solder here will just cool off, and it looks pretty smooth, you know? So you can go right into it, lift it up, and see how the lines cool. And if it doesn't have a lot of breaks in it, then it looks to the eye like one continuous bead, you know, flow. And then you wouldn't know that there's each break on each side of the glass and what's underneath it and all that stuff. It's just like we try to blend in as much as we can, you know. This side feels like there's too much solder down here. Drag it down, okay. And my center right here could use some more solder in here. You know, I'm also trying to make sure I don't pull up. That center doesn't have anywhere to go. And if you stay right there too long, it's just gonna be like a big blob, you know. This side could use some more solder, so I'm gonna add it. And you'll find that sometimes you want to just keep going and over, like it's never right. It doesn't look good. Maybe it's too much solder and you can't just can't fix it. If that happens and you add too much solder on there and you're not able to pull it away from one section to let it flow to the next, you want to clean your tip, make sure there's nothing on there, right? And then get the iron or get the solder melted and tilt your piece. You know, you can move it like this and help it flow down to where it needs to be, you know. So I didn't really need to do it at that point right there, but you can help the solder flow with the degree of your piece, you know, how it's sitting. So if you wanted to do that, move it to a next spot, you can just tilt your piece. So that is another trick. Most likely they're all pretty even. You know, you probably feel like you added too much at one section, but in the end it's not that noticeable. So just do your best to really try to get it even, but really in the end it's probably okay if it's a little bit more on one section than the other. The other thing that we're doing after this is patina. So when I finish with this soldering, we're going to do patina on it. And when we do that, you're not even going to, you know, the patina actually hides things quite well from coloring it, right? We're going to turn this black. And at that point, if you feel like right now you see the solder lines and you might see a break, and like you see how it cools and the line is not so smooth, but it's showing, you know, like, oh, there's a solder break right here or something like that. When you go to patina it won't even show up. It'll be very hard to see, almost as if you like there's nothing there, you know. It would be like that. So don't stress too much about it, that's what I'm saying. And of course, the more you work with this, the more you'll see and understand how much solder is needed, what, you know, not sure if I like that spot, but just keep moving along. If it bothers you, fix it, but I think at times you're probably the only one who'll notice it. Not saying do a bad job, obviously, because if you know you did a good job and everything is great, then, oh, right here, there's a, I think we probably lost some solder down to the back side right there. So for that one right there, I'm not sure what's going on, but when we flip it over, I'm probably going to see some solder melting down towards the back, which is okay. And we'll fix it again, flip it over, and then keep doing it. This process is where you really just chill out and just let it happen, you know. Bubbles up, it'll happen. Let it do its thing and come back. It's melting. I got some bubbles right here, melting, going through the back side, because you keep filling it and it doesn't bead up, and it keeps on getting flat. So that means it's flowing through to the other side, and you know, sometimes you can't help it. It just does that. It needs to do it. It has to go down. It wants to. So let it do its thing, and then we'll see what it looks like on the reverse. But yeah, I'm trying not to have it perfect. I am trying my best to make it as good now, so I have less work on the final pass. right? Say I get a line that is perfect right now, then that's good, because the next pass I won't have to touch it. And I don't have to worry about that particular section. But if it's not, it's okay. We're going to go over it again. Oh man, it's starting to, well, it's just getting windy. It's a little bit rainy today. But yeah, and you should see like the project just come together a lot better right now, how it is flowing, connecting together, you know, and you can see some of the pieces like versus this side to this side, you see more of smoothness to everything. So pretty easy. Well, you know, not easy, but there's not much to it. You just gotta get used to this part. You know, lifting off, lifting up. Right, lifting up while it's hot. And then the center where they meet, you just let it sit for a little bit, melt everything, lift up, and then you got a nice bead right there, and you don't have to mess with it anymore. Okay. And I'm not using flux, not adding more flux on there, maybe adding more solder to the line, to the bead. One thing I do wish I knew how to do, which I don't, is decorative soldering. And that's making getting a special look from soldering itself, which requires really good soldering control skills on the iron, understanding all of this right now, and you being able to add extra solder onto your line to make it look like some, well, like maybe bumps in the lines in a pattern type of look. And that is very cool. I have not played around with that enough or practiced it or even really tried it. So I've seen the work of others and it's impressive because it takes a lot of skills, and that means you've already got your soldering handled, this part of it. So I don't know, maybe in the future I could try to play around with that and learn, and maybe I could teach you how to do it, but I don't have it down yet. I haven't tried it really. Okay, so as it comes up to the edges there, I'm just trying to melt everything and then pulling up. And you just have some of the stuff you just got to move on and say, screw it, that's all I can do. That's what it's going to look like, and just keep going. You can't really sit too long to worry. If you do, something will happen. This foil is not going to hold. Glass is going to break. Something that you don't want to happen. And it'll just ruin your entire piece. Well, it'll ruin your day. You can fix it, but you don't want to do that. I really hope that doesn't happen here, because I don't want that to happen. So I'm moving too. I'm trying to keep it going. Right, it's just feeling good right there. Coming through, getting everything melted, lift up. And See, I don't know. Did I do that one already? It doesn't look like it. Sometimes I forget too, like which one did you do? Maybe I haven't. Okay. You can just kind of stamp it like that. Melt it down. It's a lot of just chilling, taking your time, letting the solder melt, however long it takes. I'm at 410 Celsius on the setting here, so that seems to be working for me. If that works for you, it's good. If not, you can dial it down or up. Not sure what everybody else is using for their work. Now I'm completely forgetting what I did and what I didn't do. Just trying to go off of the lines that look bad. Still looks bad. You can also turn the iron tip, where I now have the iron tip with the pointy side down. You know, just playing around with that, seeing if it helps fine-tune the line a little bit, get it to melt a little bit better in some way. Depends on what's working. You know, if it looks good like that for you, play around with it. It's cool. You can do all sorts of stuff here. I also try not to add too much solder at this point, because it's harder to take the solder out. It's easier to add it in. You know, like I talked about, where you can tilt it and let it roll off. You can do that, but that would also, sometimes it rolls off and gets onto the other section, sticks onto another line. Then you end up having to work on that part, you know. So a lot of things, I don't know what maybe we did that. Maybe we did all this. Yeah, I think we did all this. Okay, I mean, it's looking all right. Dang. You know, looking pretty good. Okay. Yeah, some of the lines already look good from the first pass, you know, and if it did, leave it alone. Nothing, it's not messed up, don't fix it, just leave it. If it looks good. And I'm just trying to get it even, trying to make it look as even from one line to the next as possible, right? That's all it is. Not a big deal if you get some lines in between here and it's not smooth. You can just go back and do that. So that's looking good right there. I don't want to screw it. I don't need to touch it up. Okay, that. And it stopped recording. obvious places where there's nothing in there, fill it in. Get the solder melted, let it heat up, just fill that in, fill the hole. And just do little by little so you don't overflow, overfill, all that good stuff. We still got the back side to do, you know, so just because this side looks good and perfect, you turn it over, there's going to be some spots, there's going to be some melted spots that went through. So you try to fix that. In turn, that spot probably flow through back onto this side. Now you got to redo that spot again. So that's why I say don't worry too much about getting it right now. You may have to redo it again. So it's good that I'm telling you this, because I'm also telling myself this as I continue on and keep going. There are some gaps, you know. The less gaps you have with your piece, yeah, it's going to be better. You're not going to have as much work to fix. If you have those big gaps in your work, that's when you'll encounter that, the flow through. I wonder if there's a technical term for that. Probably a term for all the stuff we're talking about. And one day maybe I would know all of it, you know. But right now I don't. What technical terms? I'm lucky this thing is holding itself together, you know? Nah. I've been doing this for a while. Feel good. Feel like things not gonna fall apart. Things not gonna break. You know, they hold themselves on here pretty well. And also because I have now pieces that have been here for 5 years or so, and they're still here. And that's from me not knowing what the hell I was doing and working on stuff, and they still look pretty good. You know, so yeah, these things are pretty tough. And they should last. Maybe I should get this guy here. I feel like there's a little bit too much right here. Well, you see that? You see how the solder flowed off down here? I want to collect it. All right? Right there. Maybe there's too much now. Where can I go? You can kind of roll the solder around, move it a little bit. I don't have like a, what is it, like the solder sucker? You know, you can pull solder with the little pen tool. You can do that. There's a tool that it's spring loaded. Pull it up. You push on it, and then it just springs out. So that action pulls the air and pulls the solder out. It's pretty cool. So if you have some pulling of the solder, you can do that. You can use that tool to remove your solder. I used it at work, so I don't have it, but I should. Maybe it's a good thing to get, you know. But I never had to use it right now. So yeah, I don't know. One day maybe need to get it. But yeah, it's just a plastic tool. Solder sucker, solder remover, something like that. Okay. Oh. Yeah, you see this is very, oh, I'm going to show you guys something else over here. Had a big bubble. The bubble popped and then left an opening in the solder, like, you know how a volcano flows down onto the ground and it's bubbling everywhere, and then when it cools, there's like a cave or some sort tunnel that happens. So there's a, you know, looks pretty cool though. Oh, there's no way you can see that. Yeah, I don't think you can see that. No, you're not going to be able to see that. But yeah, so if that happens, it cools off, come back to it, melt it again, and it'll fill itself in, like right now. Right? Done. It's a lot of just going over things, looking at it, fixing it. So, person with the best soldering finished product is basically the one who's paying attention, going back, fixing it, and taking their time on it. A lot of time. You know, all the smooth points that everybody's looking at, they're looking at it, and they make sure that it is cleaned off. So we could probably sit here for a while. I'm trying to make sure overall it looks okay. What's this part looking like? Okay, that, looking at these lines, I was just telling you guys not to be so into getting it right now, and here I am just looking at it and going, okay, I gotta fix this, I gotta fix this. So I'm gonna try to stop that now. And we'll move to the back side, making sure we haven't skipped any parts, especially yeah, just places where it looks a little rough, you know? Like, what the hell is this? Yeah, see, this part wasn't even done. I think you'll know once you start working on this. You should know. You should know what looks good, what doesn't, and go fix it. You know, that's it. Just get to that melting, get it to melt right there. That section, lift up. Right there, lift up, and lift up, and then it kind of just blends in together, and it's hardly noticeable. Okay, let's flip it over. Do the back side. So many little tiny beads, little splats everywhere. Maybe I should clean up here. Okay. Not so bad. About the same. You know, there's like this point right here that fell through the crack. You can see right there. There you go. So that fell through the crack. Solder flowed through right in the middle there. Now I'm just going to use that to smooth it out on this side. And if it doesn't fall back through there, then it's sealed up, you know. So see right there, that I don't know what happened there. We will have to fix that. There's always something in this final step. It's going to be just looking for these fixes, these holes and gaps, and then it'll just, everything starts to come together. You don't really know that it's happening, you know, and it's just all these little steps are coming together right now. Like line by line, that's what we're doing. Going line by line here. And I'm basically like, what do I feel like? I feel like I'm a handyman of some sort, you know, like you're just going around fixing, like, what is it, like a Mario game or some pipe dream or some pipe game where, you know, like the water's flowing over here, you got to fix it, go close it off, and then it shoots out on the other side, you got to run over and go fix that part. That's what's going on. It's like filling in the solder here. Oh, this spot's good. Okay, move on to the next spot. Yeah, here's another one we got to fill in. Okay, oh, that one just bubbled up. We got to do it again. Okay, like that. And you're just doing that front and back. Just going over back and forth, all this stuff, you know. And that's what it is. It's like the smoothing, this process, just trying to get everything smooth out. Trying to get the look. You want the look. We want it to be, what is it? Just this nice bead that nobody knows how it comes together, and it just looks really good. You know, it's gonna be painted black, pretty much, right, with the patina, and you look at it and it's like, man, I don't know what it is. That's what we want. We want it to be the mysterious finished product, and everybody sees that, and you don't think about it until you do it, until you're the ones doing it. You want to make it look easy, right? We want to make it look like, yeah, you just make some lines in the glass and this is it right here. And they don't know why it costs so much. That's the reality. So get it to that point and you've won. Because how many hours is this, you know? We're still on for the second part. 30 minutes already passed, so we're on our second. Probably going to be talking and cut off because I'm not even looking up. Okay. See, like, certain lines are looking really good. Honestly, I think I might even smooth things out too much. You know, sometimes probably just stop trying to fix it, trying to make it better. I don't know. I can't help it. Can't help it. I see it and I just go, oh, I gotta do it. I gotta get this part. So. Boom, pop. Okay. I also believe the second side feels better, looks better. you know. Could be because the inside of from the front face, it got filled in, and then this one is like the result, and maybe some of it got filled in, and so there's less work on that. And when we go to do it, we're also better at soldering now because we're getting used to this part, this work, and I think maybe that has something to do with it. Just letting it melt, picking it up. There's a lot of sections here. There's a lot of lines I could fix, and also still some that needs to be fixed. But I think, considering this being the backside, I should not worry too much. That's my tip for you, because it is the backside, and you don't need to worry about it too much. But everybody's going to see your work, so take that as you may. A lot of gaps in the center, filling that in. Trying not to add more solder on there. I want to see. Let's see. It's looking good. Boom. That center work was really nice. It was, oh, well, talk too soon. A little bubble right there. But I knew there wasn't enough solder, but instead of adding it, I ended up melting around on each pedal, trying to pull it into the center, and that gave me enough from all around, and then melted the center, and now it looks pretty good. So let's do this section here. Wait, before I do that, these lines then need some work. This guy needs more solder right here. Yeah, you know, just trying to you gotta try to understand how it pulls up with the solder, and then do you need to add more? That's the question of all these. You see it, and then you go, do I need to add more? Would it be better if you added more? And I don't like to add too much. It's really hard to work with when you have too much solder on the line. You know, sometimes you got to do it so it's not flat. And some people add a lot. Okay, so there's like, I think maybe a style to it too. You can add more to make it thick, and then it gives it like another look. So some people do like that, and they make sure that it really beads up. Otherwise, they don't consider it done. So you can do that. But there's a certain point where it's just too flat, which means it's not done. So you're going to have to add the solder in. But you can also over add it and get a look as well. So something to think about. What the heck time is it? Because so we're gonna have to get this done. I also have to wash this today. I was telling you guys earlier, well, not in this video, but earlier, that if you start your solder process, you want to make sure you're able to clean it off in the same day. You don't want this sitting overnight. You want to clean your project off. So try not to be doing this late where you can't you can't clean it. And if you get to that point where you have to leave it, could be bad for the work, because the flux is there. We want to get flux off of this as quickly as possible. We don't like flux to be on our project, so get the flux off of it as soon as you can. So when we finish this, you want to go clean it off right away. I guess not when it's super hot, but when it cools off. But you know, you don't want it sitting overnight. And I've done that to a few of the pieces and never knew why they came out bad later on, you know. There are probably ones where they molded and got like this white mold on the project, and some didn't, others did, and I couldn't figure out what it was, and I'm pretty sure this is the cause of it. So try to clean your piece right after you finish this. Okay, we're still good on the recording. So I hope I can do that. I'm very tight on time today now. See how on this side I feel like it's just flowing a lot easier, you know. Things look a lot better. So I really think it has to do with us being, I don't know, maybe just my hand's kind of cramping up from holding the iron though. Okay. You just gotta drag it through, let it melt, let it do its thing. That's going to go where it wants to go. Add some more solder, let it pull up. Probably bubble in a little bit here, but it's cooling. Well, you see how slow I'm going though? Can't rush on this step. This is all about just taking your time, right? We still got the edges to do. Still have, excuse me, the fumes irritate me. Sometimes it gets to me here. Uh-oh, what time is it? Okay, I gotta come back to this then. Shoot. Oh, crap. All right, you guys, had to break that video. I actually had an appointment, left, went to the acupuncturist, right? Got an acupuncture, sucked some needles, laid down for like 30 minutes or something, and now I'm back. It was a good session, but I should be like calm and feeling all nice and stuff, but I needed to get back here because I don't have a lot of time now to work on this. And remember I said I needed to finish this up so I can also wash it. You know, it needs to be washed today. So I don't want it to sit and not let it sit at all. So right now I just got back, got on my suit, and here we go, recording this video. This is crazy. So we're good, we're recording. Wow, that was, this might be like one of the most productive days I've ever had. Don't know how that happened, but yeah. And then on the way there, I was in a rush, or late really, and then, you know, it was already time for the appointment, so I was rushing out, got in the car, go down the street, and the entire street is stopped with traffic from the schools that had gone out, and kids from all over, from the school. There's 2 schools, a middle school and a high school, and parents and everybody else, all the kids getting in their cars, and parents picking people up, or picking the kids up and everything, and it was just, I was just stuck. So I was late to my appointment, quite late, but we still had a good session, and yeah, now I'm back here. So wild. Man, I don't know. I don't really think I'm gonna finish this now. Just feels like it's a little rushed for me. So opposite of what I was saying earlier, you know, try and take your time and do all this stuff, but I guess things come up, and I'm supposed to plan this better, maybe? I don't know. Today was a full day of working, starting from just like doing the full soldering day, and then I have the last video, the one that started it, the first beginning soldering video, that is uploading right now. Probably is done already, uploading, and then I have to finalize it, check it one more time, and then publish it so you guys have that video. So if you're watching this one, you're probably already watched the other one, you know? And so this is the same day, a continuation of it, but I won't be able to get this one up just because of time. So hopefully somehow I can pull it off and have it up by the next day, and you can have this shortly. So I hope I can do that for you and get it up. You know, I just gotta figure out how that can happen. But this video seems like it's gonna be shorter, right? I don't anticipate this going over. Well, actually, we're on the second part of things now, so can't say. I don't know. This might be the long. It's got to be at least an hour, right? Yeah, I don't know. I can't think right now. Oh, okay. Yeah, I can't believe I just rushed back like that. I woke up from the treatment, and I'm just sitting there and waiting for him to finish up with other people just looking at myself full of needles. Never seen that before. I've gone through it a few times, but I've never actually looked, because he would come in, I would wake up, and then take all the needles out before like I get to really see anything. So this time I was up before and just kind of waiting, anxious to come home actually to finish this up. So yeah, it's fun times. Okay, getting back into it. Soldering. Things look pretty good. It's my guess is another 20 minutes of this. Definitely at least 20 minutes of this, but I think I only have about 20 minutes of this. So that alarm is going to go off, and I'm going to have to take off again to pick up the kids now. So this is, I'll have to come back and finish this somehow. So when the alarm goes off, we will be, you guys will know. And you already get the process. You see this right now. This is what it is. Fixing, readjusting, melting, going over the stuff. Just playing around with the solder at this point. You know? If I can pull this off before the alarm goes off, would be crazy. I don't think so, because the edges need to be done, and that's not a quick job. None of it is. Got the rain coming down. It's going to be raining all weekend for a few more days, I believe. Feels so good. Having the rain hit the roof and stuff, I love that. Okay. All right, smooth that out. Looks good right there. Smooth this out. See, I also don't want to rush and feel like I didn't do as best of a job as I could. So I'm gonna have to take a little breather. Where the joints meet, that sometimes is the harder part. Making it nice and neat, every section where they come together, that is the hardest part. Because they lump up and you want it to look so smooth, and there's going to be a break somewhere, so trying my best to add the solder but not have it be like, yeah, you know. And again, at some point you're just gonna have to say, hey, screw it, it's done, you know. Okay, that looks good. Nice. All right, how are we looking? This line. I'm just looking at these lines, adding some more solder. This one needed it. Remelting it. I like to finish off with the center, making a dot, melting it all around, and then kind of having like a little dot central finish for where they all come together. So I think that looks neat. I'm sure there's other ways to make it look, or like a different look, different style, you know. The more you mess with it, you're gonna see how you can play with the solder. You know, it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool to see. Like, that's flowing too much right now. I'm gonna leave it. Yeah, honestly, I don't think we're gonna be able to finish this. Okay, let's turn it over. It's looking a lot better. Not that you can tell, but should look like it's more filled in. And this is the front, so we'll try to pay more attention to it, like as an overall feel, you know, like see this line right here is a little messed up. Let's fix that. Okay, what else? What else is looking a little off? All this right here. What happened here? Okay, that. I'm pretty sure you guys can't see the fine details from the camera picking anything up. You're most likely just seeing the lines and me just melting, remelting. So at this step, it's probably hard to explain, or I mean, just hard to see what it is that I'm trying to do or I'm fixing. But I'm just looking at each of these lines and I see some that are like, you know, this whole line wasn't smooth and I want to make it just one continuous flow like that. And then where they meet, I want it to be like the break should happen right where they join. So I'm trying my best to either not have it show at all or have that break just happen right there where it needs to be. Okay. See if that was good. Let's do the center. I like to finish off with the center. Draw everything out and then finish off with the center. It's like feels good that that's the ending. It makes sense. And you can even go in the middle. You see a line you don't like, break it up, just melt it and then lift up. And it might clean it off enough to where that line just blends in and then you don't see, it's like smooth enough that it looks uniform, right? Okay, so we have not really any time left. Thing's gonna go off in a couple more minutes, I'm also gonna have to get out of this and get going again. All right, the day is wrapping up too soon. Can't get that part. Sometimes you get beads, those little tiny beads just splatter all over and they'll stick to, you know, one of your solder lines here. If you can push, like scrape it off, push it off, that's great. If you can't, it's gonna stick on there, you gotta remelt it, work it into the solder. All right, look. I didn't get to the sides, the edges here. If I can do my best to add it in right now, but the edges are, it's gonna take some work, but what you do is, I would go like this, add solder, and just pull up. So I don't have a lot of stuff here, but you melt it quickly and pull it up, lift it off, lift right away. And you can add more solder to it from your tip. You know, just don't let it flow over to the edges or to the front or the side, the back. And just let it pull sitting up. Okay, I'm just trying to melt the ones that I see right now that has excess solder flowed onto it. Eventually I will add more solder onto the tip, and with that it'll flow naturally onto the foil itself. But what you want to do is just tap, lift up. So that's all I'm going to be doing for the whole process on top, on this top surface here. And as you do that, all around it just gets filled in smoother and smoother. And eventually you'll just have, you've created a nice bead that's quite thick. You know, it doesn't have to be so puffed up, but add some solder onto the tip, and then, you know, like right here, you know, and it'll start to kind of come together here. So also for me, I'm not trying to make this the finished product, like the sides here. The edge here is not my final finished product. I do want to fill in everything that I see that has copper foil or is still bare, still showing like that copper foil. So at this part, I'm just trying to fill it in, get all the foil covered. But I don't need to, I really don't need to add too much onto the top of this. I do want it to, like, just filling it in for, I don't know for what. Just cover it good enough, because I will be adding the lead channel on here, so that will cover it all up. So actually, I'm not necessary to throw anything, you know, to do much work on here. To be honest, you might not need to have to do this at all, because we're going to be covering it with the LED channel, the U LED channel. So I am almost done, actually. Right, so just tapping it like that, trying to add, filling in the solder, letting it fill in, touching the copper foil, making it a little bit nicer. There's a gap right here. Just drop that in. Come on. If you do too much right now at this part, you could risk dropping it onto the side, onto the front and the back side, and that would, well, you got to redo some stuff. You know, it could ruin your piece. So just take it easy on this, go slow, little by little. I'm mainly trying to make it like uniform. Dang. It's coming down. I don't know how you guys do it in Washington. Rain all the time. London. I don't know. We haven't had much rain here, and now we have it, and everything's flooding. Yeah. Feels nice because I don't get rain a lot out here. Okay. It's feeling pretty good, like just about, I'm just really done, you know? I'm pretty much done. But you see how that's just like adding so slightly more and more until you, like, you could keep going, you could just keep going. Because if this was the finished project, you want to make sure that there's a lot of solder on, or not a lot, but there's enough on these edges too. And I just think that our project, we need it to be covered with the LED channel, just so it looks really nice. It'll cover up, you know, these spots here where they kind of come together. They're not perfectly closed off, like in a circle. So when you look at it, you want to see that. So, you know, again, I think at this part you don't really need to. You don't need it. This is it. We're done. Okay, so if I'm happy with this side, this is the back side. These are freaking. You know, there will always be a spot somewhere that I'm gonna see, and I'm just gonna be like, oh, I don't like this, and it will be reworked over and over. So, you know, I hope you guys find that happy. You know, like, stop whenever you need to do it and just say that's the best. And oh, I can't get out of this garage, I'm stuck. It's like dang, it's pouring hard. It's coming down. Woo! Fun times. All right, guys, look. This is good. All right, I'm gonna say this is done. Next step is washing this, because I want to wash this off. And actually, if I had time, I would put the lead strip around it, cut it off, and then solder that together, right? Close it off, put some hooks on it, and then we're done. But today, I need to clean this off. And so what I'll be doing is I will be washing this, because I got to get going. I'll be washing this with quick clean. I want to just spray it, scrub it, and clean it off, no water, and then we'll do the patina. So I just want to wash the flux off of this stuff. So actually I could probably just wash it with like soap and water, or the what's the other thing? Not the quick clean, but where is this thing at? Oh yeah, CJ's flux remover. I like this a lot. I think it's better than soap and water. But use warm water, wash it off, scrub it really well, get a nice brush, clean it off with all soapy, get all that flux off. That's what I'm going to be doing in within a few hours here. So I'll be doing that, and then I'm going to leave it. So then we should be safe with the flux off, and we'll come back. So we got to continue this. We'll come back, wrap the lead, put the hooks on, and be done with it. I think I have to think about what kind of lead and stuff, what I have, and what I want to do with it. Well, patina as well. So next step will be the patina is the main thing really. Soldering, patina, finish, and that could be all in one day. All right, thanks guys. This is so cool. You stuck with me today. A lot of things happened, and for me anyways, going through this stuff, but hope you saw how that soldering works with the beads, getting the nice beads and everything. And I hope I don't really have to touch this up anymore. I feel, the more I look at it, yeah, I'm gonna see some stuff I gotta just pull off and just forget about it, because it's not that bad. Really, looks pretty damn good. All right, comment whatever you need, whatever you'd like. If you have questions on it, I would, ask away, and then hopefully I can answer some of the questions in the next video. I would like to do that. Let me know where you're watching from. Always. That's it, guys. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Probably be couple of days, just because we're coming up to the weekend here. All right, see you later.